when we do the system study, and this Act 2 business is part of it, to see how vibrant the Act 2 is. And then, like I said, it's a snapshot of, now that we've published a report, and we said, some are, top liners, they are front liners. Some MDAs, they are good in terms, they are substantially compliant in terms of ethics and integrity. That is, looking through their management culture, their financial management systems, their administrative systems, finance, Minister of Finance, Minister of Industry and Trade and Investment, they are the front liners amongst, a few others. Then the ones who are at the bottom of the pile, like education and justice, when we did that study, and they got their result, of course they were jolted to say, now it's in the public domain that education, Ministry of Justice, you're at the bottom of the pile. So that will speak back to this issue of service delivery, because now they know eyes are on them. And what ICPC plans going forward is, once we do such studies and we come out with a report, we'll follow up on those ones that are still weak. We have 3 categories of ranking: substantially compliant, partially compliant, or non-compliant. And then we follow up on the weak ones, both the partially compliant and the non-compliant ones, and follow through to see whether you are making changes. If not, if you still remain recalcitrant, first of all, we'll more or less impose a new system on you to say this is how you should go about the way you are doing things from here on. But then if you still continue your old ways, then we now switch over to the enforcement mode and make it criminal that you have not done. So these are the things we're institutionalizing as we go. Now that we have, you said earlier that ICPC seems now to be doing a lot more. We used to do all of this in the past. It's been part of our efforts. But the only lacuna had been that we didn't name and fame or name and shame. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it wasn't in the public domain when we did a system study on maybe a particular NDA and we found them deficient in certain regard. We simply related with them, one-on-one.
Would you say that coming out to the open, making it public and more transparent, has had a stronger effect?
Yes,
on the behavior of the MDAs?
Definitely. Because as soon as the report came out, it was revealed at the summit we had at the Villa some 2 weeks back. The ministries, the headship of the ministries started, asking the ICPC, what do we do next? How do we, correct these issues? And so on and so on. Maybe while in the past, they might not have been directly involved because they would just say, oh, maybe some director should deal with it or the permanent secretary should do it. But we have ministers coming to say, you mean really? This is what we scored? And as a follow-up to the, as a consequence of the IPPIS thing we did, the personnel cost, not IPPIS really, it's just not on IPPIS. And we revealed, we've said about 18 billion right now, that we told government, in the words of my chairman, restrain the money.
So it's not longer 12 billion?
No, it's not 18, it's even more than 18 billion right now.
IPPIS has saved 18 billion?
Yes, not IPPIS. There are those not on IPPIS. There are still MDAs who are outside of IPPIS. Yes. So now, because of that exercise, they are now being made to join IPPIS. So Minister of Finance is capturing them now on IPPIS. But their expenditure, personnel expenditure for this year alone, we've restrained over 18 billion naira. Restrained, in the words of my chairman, meaning the amount was showing on the platform as money due to them. For example, salaries from January to July, for example. Government doesn't pay salaries in advance. It does it as it is due. So if I'm seeing on DIFMIS, that's this issue about institutionalizing and building infrastructure. DIFMIS allowed ICPC, for example, to see on the platform monies due to all the agencies, MDAs, because that's the integrated government financial management platform. Now, we see January to July, you are still having balances on your salaries. How so? How come? Because ordinarily, you should have exhausted your salary if you paid everybody. And nobody complained you didn't pay them. So how come all of a sudden you are having, like, say, 30 million, 50 million left on your salary for maybe a particular MD, and then it means it shows you had padded your nominal role ab initio, and then you've paid those who are actually on ground. That's the balance. You are now hoping to draw down doing other things that are not personnel related. For example, they'll be drawing down on such monies, using them for travels when they are not supposed to use that. So ICPC, in doing that, we brought out the report that there are health institutions, tertiary institutions, universities, and there's this talk about them getting on IPPIS. They are the worst culprits, and health institutions and tertiary health institutions. And out of that, a fallout of that, immediately we came out with that report showing a particular MDA had 900 and something million as surplus on its salary. Anyway, a whole lot of those tertiary institutions.
What MDA was that?
It's I think it's the Federal Medical Center by ELSA, if I'm not mistaken. Federal Medical Center by ELSA. I think so.
About
900 and something million. Yes, was the top of that corporate list. Now they came the following week. They had a meeting with the headship of ICPs, with the chairman and our director of finance, and then people from budget office and accountant general office, to say, how did this happen? They explained. They said there are certain services government does not give them enough overhead for, like cleaning, security, outsourced services that they cannot pay from their personnel. So because government now doesn't give them enough overhead, they now sort of build some slack into personnel so they can do that. What we have said to them now is this: go and first of all make your nominal rule correct. If you are 20 people on ground, don't come and say you are 50. Say you are 20. When you do that, for example, you gave government 1 million naira bill for personnel, when in actual fact you just need about, say, 100,000 naira. If you tell the truth and they give you 100,000, it releases 900,000 for government to put back into your overhead. Government's resources are not unlimited. Okay. So when personnel takes a huge chunk, you can't do other things. So that's what we have told them to do now.
I was hoping to come to Dr. Jibril in this segment, but Madam Okoto was not going to allow that.